I'm here again with another beautiful tutorial where I share tips on how to achieve successful design projects and how to make your project command attention using designs that I receive from designers. I'm sure you're going to enjoy this tutorial. So without any further ado, let's start. Before sharing how I was able to make this look successful, allow me share what is not working here and what is working so you guys can take note of them and start applying them to your project. All right, so the first thing I noticed that this designer did right here is the part of making the title command attention. All right, I like the fact that, the title is looking this bold and visible and there's nothing distracting it. All right, so I like the way the designer played with the title here. And there's another thing I want to advise you guys to start doing. Now, it's not really compulsory, but it's also part of how you can make your design project look dynamic. And what I'm trying to say here is the making your illustration overlap on your type, like the way this designer did here. All right. So working this way is also part of how you can, make your project look interesting. And aside from making it look interesting, there's this achieving this connection between the title and the illustration that this move here always apply to our project. All right. So I like, what the designer did here. And the other thing that I like here is the, part of making the highlights visible for us to see, because as a designer, our job is to make sure that when putting together the content, we should put it in a way that it will be easier for the viewers to read them. And I like the way, the designer made the highlights here visible. Now, I'm sure you guys can agree with me that with all the with all the things I said about this project, you notice something is still not right. And I'm going to share what is not right in this project. Now, the first thing is the not balancing the color right. The color used in this project are beautiful, but the not playing with the intensity of the color right is what I notice here, and also the part of playing with the value. Now, I expect the designer to make one of these colors here to make the intensity of the color a bit higher in terms of, increasing the tone. I'm going to show you what I'm saying here. So if I activate hue saturation and I select the color picker and I pick this color here, sorry, I'm supposed to click on this. Yeah, and I click on this. Now watch this. If I increase the saturation, you see that the color start looking pop. Now, this is the before and this is the after. So when you are putting together colors, all right, you are putting colors in your project. One of the ways you can make the color interesting, one of the ways you can make the color pop in your project is to make the value of the color different from each other, and also make the intensity of the color, I'm talking of the saturation of the color here now, make them different from each other. Don't make it too dull. The making it too dull can make your project dull. Now, there are times where you need to do this in your project. But if the project is not talking about sadness, if it's not talking about something evil, please make your color pop. All right, make your color pop. Making your color pop is also part of how you make the project command attention. All right. Then the other thing I noticed that the designer did not really do well here is the part of the proximity. All right. Now, when I say proximity, I'm referring to the grouping of the content. All right. Now, here I noticed there's this here is one level of this is one group here. This is one proximity here, and this here is another proximity. But you see this side here, the content here are too close to each other. When you move content close to each other, you're actually saying you want people to see them as one group. So the moving the highlight close to the date, the way the designer did it here, is not balanced. this would have made sense if you, or if the designer introduced the use of rules. I'm talking of lines. All right. Put a separated, line between the dates and time. When you do this, you're actually making your viewers know that, see, the highlight and the date and time are two different information that I want you to read differently. I don't want you to read them together. All right. So when you do that, you're actually creating space, because rules is also part of how, we create space in graphic design. So yeah, I noticed the designer did not, do well in that area. And the other thing I noticed the designer did not do well again here is moving content too close to the frame. This is not always nice. Part of what make clients know that we are beginners is when they see the way we place our content. This is the same way they place content to when they want to do designs themselves. All right. So when they see you do the same thing they do, they quickly know that yes, you are still a beginner. So if you're working on design project, it's always best to allow, space, all right? Allow frame around your project, all right? When you do this, you're actually helping the attention of your viewers go to what you have at the center of the frame in your project. All right. And the other thing I noticed that this designer did not do right here is the part of using elements that are not necessary. I always say this to you guys. The use of elements that are not necessary can affect the success of your design. We're in a world where, people are already loaded with so many activities around them. So design is one of the ways you can make them relax. In fact, the business around people is an opportunity for we designers to create projects that command attention. And this is where you need to learn the habit of simplifying your project in order to draw the attention of the viewers, in order to help them with not adding to the problem that they are already going through, which is the seeing so many things distracting them, like watching news, going to the bus stop, seeing billboards everywhere. And when they see you do design that is simple, it makes them relax and want to read the content in your project. So avoid the use of elements that are not necessary. Okay. Before getting to the recreating of the project, I have one very important information I would like to share with you. We get calls a lot from folks who are looking forward to go into design but can't afford to pay for design school. Because of this, we decided to start a foundation where we can be a blessing to these people. We're looking at getting space and gadgets in order for us to meet our goals. And this is where we need you to support us with your donation. If you have any amount you think you can support us with, kindly make use of the seller link on the screen. Every amount that comes from you will be highly appreciated. And we want to specially thank those of you who have been sending your donation to us. So let's continue. I started the project with Illustrator, and the reason why I decided to go to Illustrator is because I know the type of people that like to create content nowadays is mostly the Gen Zs. And anytime you're asked to work on design projects, it's always best to know the people that the projects belong to. All right, it's best to know the target audience. The target audience is what mostly inspire the font you're using in the project, the color you're using in the project, even the layout that you're going to use in the project. So the reason why I decided to use this character here is because of the target audience, which is the Gen Zs. And if you really want to capture the attention of these people, one of the ways you can do this right is to do something that they are used to, something that when they see, they know, hey, this is talking to us. So fonts, playful characters, most time display characters are characters that Gen Zs love to see in design. And aside from that, the reason why I decided to, play or act out this drama with the title is because the project is talking about content creation workshop. And when you hear the word content creation, it simply means one need to be creative. All right. There's always the creativity part of creating content. And that's why if you check the highlight, you'll see there's a part where it's written there that creative storytelling. So I decided to apply that creativity style to the title to actually make the viewers or the target audience know that You're coming to this training is also to teach you how to be a creative content creator. All right. So that's the idea behind the playing with the character that I have that I use in the project. And there's also the strategic way of doing this, because I know so many of you would like to achieve stuffs like this. But when you're trying to do this, which I'm going to drop the tutorial where you can watch how to achieve this on my channel. Now, white space and shape is what you should watch out for whenever you are playing with type. We identify type by their shape. We normally is what is the shape of letter A that we used to know is letter A. The white space that we have, the white space and the shape of letter H is what make us know that we're looking at letter H. So you need to make sure you don't hide the white space and also the shape, because like I said, we're in a world where people are not, people are already loaded with so many things that is distracting them or making their life look busy. So you adding to their problem is not going to make them read the content in your design. So when I was putting together this lettering, I'm talking of the font, the title, I was checking out if I did not alter the shape of any of the character and also hide the white space. You'll notice the part where I hid the white space, which you guys are going to see later. You'll notice I decided to draw outline around it in order to make that shape still visible. All right, because type are also like images. They are like the way you see a dog and it's a dog, the way you see a cup and it's a cup. So typography are also like images. And if you're a smart designer, you can also use type as illustration. All right, which is closer to what I'm trying to do here. All right, it's like me creating an illustration to tell the target audience that, hey, this is to entertain you, this is to make you know that this is for you. If I'm working on a project for people between the age of 40 upward, and I use this character, no, not even 40, let's say 45 or 50 up, and I use this character for them, 20% of people around that age will like this, but the remaining people won't like it. Why? Because this is far from what they like. And the reason why is because so many of them use these glasses. So you creating a project like this for people who are older, like old people, you are not going to make them go look at the project. In fact, you're going to send them away. So know your target audience before playing with type, and make sure that you don't cover the shape of your type. The shape and the space is very, very important. I need you to take, note of this. So as a designer, it's always best to take your time to understand the problem you're asked to solve before working on any design project. Know what the project needs to do before you start putting together the elements. Don't be a designer that as soon as they send you the brief, you jump straight to your workstation and start putting the element together. If you don't ask the necessary question like, what do you want this project to do? Who are the target audience? And why is this project necessary? Like, why do they need this project? So the response from the client is what mostly inspire the layout for the project. And another good way of working this way is, one of the things that spark creativity is when you understand the project. Your understanding of the project is what make you know how to play when putting together the elements. All right. So I need you all to take note of this. So the part of doing the drop, like the paint drop on the title, is to avoid making it flat. All right, because one of the ways, or one of the style that you can apply to your title to make it look interesting is to give it that 3D look. People see things that have this 3D design look, they find it beautiful. All right, they find it beautiful. So whenever you're playing with your type, try give it that let me use the word movement effect. When I say movement effect, I mean like something that shows like what is real, like what you can feel, what you can touch. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the movement part can be you applying gradient to your title. The movement part can also be the applying of value. I'm talking of shadows, playing with value on your title. So working this way is part of how you can make your projects look unique to the eye of your viewers. Now, when I was going to take this to Photoshop, I hit Control C from I copied the design from Illustrator by hitting Control C. And when I go to Photoshop, I hit Control V to paste it. Now, when you hit Control V, there's a window that pops up. The option you have to select from this window is the Smart Object option. So why you need to select Smart Object option is because the design from Illustrator will appear the way you design it in Illustrator. And that's why you need to select that option. So you'll notice that the color I use for the color behind the word free is black. The reason is because I really want to give room for contrast and also to make attention go to that small information that I have there. Because if I use red like the other color, it will be difficult for people to quickly see the information in the project. And that's the reason why I decided to use black behind, the lettering and use a color that contrasts the color behind the word. And I still copy the style from the designer, which is the making the illustration overlap on the title. I told you working this way is part of how you can make your project look interesting to the viewers. All right. So yeah. Then the other thing I noticed I did here is the part of the proximity. I'm a type of person that doesn't joke with proximity. And I always say this to my designers or my students that proximity is actually one of the hidden hidden principles, excuse me, it's not style. It's one of the hidden principles that you are to use the way you use contrast in your project. The reason why most designers don't use proximity or don't pay attention to proximity is because so many of us are used to hearing the word contrast, contrast, contrast. But contrast cannot really work well if you don't always give room for proximity in the project. And there's something I did in this project which I need to also let you guys know. If you look at the background of the project, you see there's this scripts handwriting effect that I have on the background. And the reason why I use this image is because the project is talking about creating, part of what you need to learn to do as a content creator is writing of scripts. And that's the reason why I decided to get an image that show that, script thing and put it on the background of the project. Now you see that if you take your time to think when putting together the elements, you'll find out that instead of adding things that are not necessary to the project, you'll notice that the project still need more things to be added that is going to add to the success of the project. So as a designer, you need to learn the habit of relaxing before working on any project. Take your time to think and write down all the things. Yes, write down all the things that that you can add to the project that will add to the success of the project. And before I go, I want every one of you to know that we are visual communicators. How we inform the viewers, how we help our clients to inform their target audience. What they want them to know is to sit with the client first to understand their need. All right. Use the information you receive from them to create a project that inform their viewers to make them know what they want them to know. All right. I'm very sure you learned so much from this tutorial. Now, if there's anything you want to share with me, drop it in the comment section of this video. And if you love the video, give it a thumbs up. If there's anything you notice I did not talk about in this tutorial, kindly drop it in the comment section of this video. Now, if you know anyone that you believe need to watch this tutorial, kindly share this tutorial with them. I'm glad you made it. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.